Hi guys, thank you for joining me for another online video. So today's class we're going to be doing a stretch class. So if you're anything like me and you found that since being in isolation, you've found that you maybe been sitting a little bit more than you ordinarily would, this class is going to be really great for stretching out those places that maybe have become a little bit tight, especially through the shoulders. We're going to be doing some chest openers, some heart openers. We're going to be opening up through the hip flexors, the fronts of the legs. We're going to be stretching through the hamstrings as well to make sure that we've got nice mobility in these areas that can often become quite tight. So this is going to be a full-length class. It's going to be between sort of 45 minutes and an hour long class. I will leave the links down below again for the social media if you wanted to follow me on there to keep updated with what's going on. And if you did feel like you particularly got something from the class, I'll leave a link to the PayPal as well for that. So we're going to start in a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. You can sit cross-legged, you can extend your legs out in front, sit on your shins, sit on a cushion, sit on a block. And just begin to bring the awareness away from the external world and tune into the more subtle sensations you're feeling. If you wanted to take a hand mudra, you can take Pigeon mudra, your index finger and your thumb connected with the remaining 3 fingers stretched out in front. And begin to connect to your breath. To elongate the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head, allowing the shoulders to draw away from the ears. And begin to connect to your Ujjayi pranayama, your yoga breath, breathing in and out through the nose. The journey of the breath travels all the way down into the belly. And as you exhale, you create a small restriction to the back of the throat, creating an ocean-like sound in the back of the head. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Bring the palms together at the heart center and gently open your eyes. Namaste. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. We are going to be doing a spinal warm-up to make sure we've moved the spine in all directions before we take it any deeper. We will be doing 3 rounds of Surya Namaskara A to make sure we've moved up all the muscle groups and all the joint groups before we take it any further. And we'll be doing a stand-in sequence and then our seated sequence, each of which will be holding the postures for about 5 breaths each. So I recommend, because we're going to be working a lot with flexibility today, if you have any props, they're going to be really useful today. So maybe blocks, maybe straps, if you have a strap. Otherwise, just cushions, things work really well. Maybe a belt can work just as useful as a strap. If you wanted to add music, of course, you can set that up as well. Just take anything you need to bring yourself into a space of peace, maybe some candles. Try to make this space your own and enjoy your practice. Be grateful for yourself for showing up on your mat today. So you can stay exactly where you are. If you had crossed legs, it may feel nice to change the cross of the legs. Bring the right hand to the outside of the right hip. As we inhale, we extend up through those left fingertips. And as we exhale, we side bend over to the right, maybe beginning to come down onto that right elbow. Peeking up towards the ceiling, staying grounded through both sit bones as we stretch through the side, through those ribs. Inhale, reach up, come through center. Exhale, left hand to the outside of the left hip, right hand up towards the ceiling, maybe coming alongside the ear. Inhale, coming back through center, reaching up through the fingertips. Exhale, right hand to the outside of the right hip, left hand towards the right knee. Inhale to create space, elongate through the spine, lift through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we twist, maybe beginning to peek out over the right shoulder. As As we inhale, we come through center, reach up. Exhale, left hand to the outside of the left hip, right hand towards the left knee. Inhale to draw up through the crown of the head. Exhale to twist. Inhale, return to center, reach up. Exhale, come back down, coming into a tabletop position, so hands and knees. Wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, feet flat out behind you. 3 rounds of cat-cow. So as we inhale, we come into cow pose, crown of the head comes up, chest forward, belly down, tailbone comes up. As we exhale, we do the opposite. We start the movement of the tailbone as we round the spine, lift and separate the shoulder blades as the crown of the head releases down. Do 2 more of each at your own pace. As we inhale, we come back to a neutral spine, and we're going to take our first downward facing dog. So just check in that the palms are shoulder distance apart, fingers spread nice and wide. We tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back towards the ceiling. Knees can stay bent to start with, as we lift our sit bones up towards the ceiling, allowing our chest to melt down towards our thighs, opening through the shoulders. There should be no strain in the neck, the head can hang heavy. And then once you've opened up, you'll feel nice and long through the spine. You can begin to pedal either one heel down or both heels down towards the floor, opening up through the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. And then as we inhale, look to the space between your hands. In as many steps as you need, we're going to walk forward to a ragdoll. So feet hips distance apart. Knees stay bent as you take opposite hand to opposite elbow. Bring some gentle movements through the body. Just taking any movements that feel good here to loosen up the spine, to warm up. And then when you're ready, release the hold of the elbows, staying strong through the feet and bent through the knees. Begin to roll up the spine, stacking one vertebrae at a time over your hips until your chin comes parallel with the floor, Namaste mountain pose. So you can either have big toes touching with a little bit of space between the heels, legs are engaged, tailbone draws down towards the floor, your core is engaged, shoulders up and away from the ears, palms face forward. If it feels better, you can have your feet at hips distance apart, maybe slightly more balanced for some of us. So we're going to do 3 rounds of Surya Namaskara A. Feel free to take whichever variation of sun salutations you'd enjoy most. I'm going to do it so the first round will be modified, and then I'm going to offer some up-level options, so feel free to take that or take whatever feels good or what's in your normal practice. So coming to the front of the mat, as we inhale, bring our arms up overhead, shoulders away from the ears, look forward. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward from the hips, hands to the thighs, the shins, or towards the floor. Inhale, draw your palms up your legs, look forward, chest forward, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, bend the knees enough that you can plant both hands on the mat, stepping back to plank, using the strength of the arms, lower all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra, palms underneath shoulders, elbows tucked into ribs, lifting the chest, lifting the gaze. Exhale, forehead releases down. Using the strength of the arms, come back through tabletop to downward facing dog. 1 full breath. As we inhale, look to the space between your hands. In as many steps as you need, come forward to that halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward over bent knees. Inhale, this time coming up with a straight spine, sweep the arms out in front, come all the way back up to center. Exhale, Samasthiti. Second round, inhale, arms up overhead, maybe joining the palms, looking up towards the thumbs. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, hands come towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, chest forward, look forward. Exhale, plant hands. This time maybe chaturanga. So you can step or jump back through. So from plank, lower halfway down, shoulders no lower than elbows, knees stay lifted, core is engaged. As we inhale, we come to the tops of the feet, lifting the knees, shoulders away from the ears, arms towards straight, upward facing dog. Exhale, using your core, rolling over the feet, come back to downward facing dog, one full breath. So you don't have to take either or of the sun salutation variations, you can just pick parts that feel good to you where you are today. As we inhale, look to the space between your hands, step, or maybe you can jump forward, coming forward to the halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms in front, come all the way back up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale. Last round, arms up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, coming back to downward facing dog. We'll have one full breath. So we're going to be coming through downward dog quite a few times. If it ever feels too intense, you can always come back to a child's pose. That goes for any yoga class. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale. Last big inhale, sweep up. Exhale, Samasthiti, mountain pose. Well done, have a drink if you need one. We're going to come into Patangustasana, big toe pose. Actually, we're going to come into a variation on Uttanasana, change my mind, with shoulder expansion, because it's going to be one of the places that gets the most tight when we become sitting too long. So what we're going to do is we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back, drawing the fist down towards the floor. So your feet can be together or hips distance apart. Inhale to expand, to lift the chest. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. So the arms come up and over behind you. Your knees can be towards straight, getting into the hamstrings, or you can begin to bend them slightly. So bending them more hopefully allows you to get a bit deeper into the shoulders, a bit deeper into your fold. Whereas straight legs works the hamstrings that little bit more. As we inhale, leading back with the hands, come all the way up. Maybe even take a little bit of an extra lift at the top. Exhale, come back to center, release the arms. So from the front of the mat, we're going to come back into Uttita Trikonasana, extended triangle. So inhale, bring your right foot to the back of the mat. Bring your right foot out 90 degrees, your left foot in 45 degrees, arms out to shoulder height, aiming for roughly wrist to heel alignment, the heel of the right foot in line with the inner arch of the left foot. Inhale to extend, to lift through the chest. Exhale, reach forward with the right fingertips, and then reach down to the thigh, the shin. If you have a block, you can place your hand on a block or the floor. And you can either look down towards that right big toe, or you can look up towards that top thumb, beginning to get a twist through the neck as we open up through the shoulders. And you should feel a lovely deep stretch in that right inner thigh, your hip, and your hamstring. So it's going to do really good work for the muscles that we end up sort of slackening where we sit too much. As we inhale, we come back up through center. And we're going to move into reverse warrior. So that left hand comes down your leg, right hand comes up towards the ceiling, opening now through the right side ribs and that right shoulder. As we inhale, we come back through center, moving into Veerabhadrasana A, warrior one. We're going to stack our right knee over our right ankle. We can keep that back leg exactly where it is. You can step it in slightly, or you can step it wider slightly. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can always lift that back heel as well. Otherwise, we're going to keep it at 45 degrees. Just checking in that the hips are now going to be facing the front. Inhale, extend the arms up, warrior one. Just checking that that right knee stacks over the ankle, it's not caving in. as we inhale, we straighten that right leg. We can bring either our hands to our hips or take reverse prayer or opposite hand to opposite elbow behind our back. As we inhale, we expand, we lift through the chest. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, looking towards that right big toe. Chin towards shin, Tanasana. Intense side stretch pose. So another one to get into that hamstring, the back of that right leg. Opening up through the shoulders, the chest as well. As we inhale, we lead with the chest, come all the way back up to center. As we exhale, we step forward to Namaste, release the arms. We're going to vinyasa before we come through the other side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms in front, come all the way back up. Exhale, Samastiti. So bring the right foot to the back of the mat again on the inhale. This time bring your left foot out 90 degrees, right foot in 45 degrees. Inhale, arms out shoulder height, palms in line with the ankles, heel to arch alignment. Inhale to expand and lift the chest. Exhale, reach forward with those left fingertips, left hand to the thigh, the shin, the block, or the floor. So I'm taking a few more vinyasas here, just to make sure, because if you're feeling like me, you may feel like you want to be moving a little bit more with all the sitting you're doing at home. Maybe not, but I am. So I'm putting in a few extra vinyasas. They are all optional. You don't have to take any of them if you don't want to. They're just a lovely way of sort of neutralizing the joints and getting that little bit of movement in the body, waking it up slightly. Inhale, reaching up with the right fingertips, and then moving into reverse triangle, bringing that right hand to the back leg, left hand up towards the ceiling, maybe alongside the ear. As we inhale, we bring the arms back to center. You can keep the legs where they are as you stack the left knee over left ankle, or, as I said before, you can bring that right foot in slightly or even wider slightly. Okay, arms can stay on the hips if that feels more comfortable. You can bring them up overhead, shoulders away from the ears, looking forward. Just checking in with the alignment, checking that the hips are rotating to the, well, now the back of the mat, but they're squared off to the short edge of the mat. And that your knee is tracking over the ankle, it's not dipping in. As we inhale, we extend that left leg towards straight. You can bring your hands to your hips, opposite hand to opposite elbow, or reverse prayer. Inhale to expand and lift the chest. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, looking towards that left big toe, chin towards shin. As we inhale, reaching the chest back to center, we're going to rotate the feet back to the front of the room, step back to Samastiti, release the arms. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. If you jump back, land with bent elbows. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms in front, come all the way back up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Okay, our standing balancing sequence in on our right hand side. So you may want to sort of come back to the middle of the mat a little bit so you've got a little bit of space depending on how short on space you are. We're going to start with standing splits, Tada Hanumanasana. So I don't think I've ever done this in the class before, so we'll just go through it together. We're going to move into a forward fold to start with. So inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. You can bring your hands down towards a block or the floor. And now you're going to keep your fingers tented on the floor. So the weight should be in the right leg as you lift your left leg out back behind you. You're going to really be using the muscles, the hamstrings to strengthen and the glutes to lift that leg as high as possible. So it may just be kind of off the floor a little bit, but we're going to be working it towards, ultimately towards vertical. I'm nowhere near that, but you may be. And then once you feel nice and stable here, you can either keep the hands on the floor or maybe bring one hand at a time towards your shin or your calf as you begin to look down towards the back of the mat. Quite an intense posture. And then you're more than welcome to pop out of it for a breath, or if you wanted to try and transition, we're going to move into Uttita Hasta Patangustasana. So keeping that left leg lifted off the floor if you can. It is easier said than done. We're going to bring that left leg towards straight, in front of you, sorry. So you can either keep it here at 90 degrees, or you can begin to interlace your peace fingers of your left hand around your big toe and extend that leg towards straight. So that may be here, that's fine. Just working our way into that hamstring. Really fatiguing that right leg as well. Take one more breath in. And if you're feeling it, keep that leg lifted as we return to Warrior 3, Veerabhadrasana C. So extending that left leg back behind you now towards parallel. So we're not lifting it up, but we're keeping it towards in line with the mat. You can keep your hands at your heart center, on the floor, capital T, or arms out in front. One more breath. Okay, take a rest if you need to. Otherwise, if you can, one more push, Natarajasana. So coming up towards center, that left knee is still bent. Reach your left hand back for the inner arch of the left foot. Right hand up towards the ceiling. As we inhale, we extend. Exhale, begin to press that foot into the hand as we hinge forward. This is a very intense standing balancing sequence, so don't worry if you want to pop out of it and maybe just try the poses individually, or come to a wall, that's fine as well. As we inhale, return to center, bring that knee back to center, arm back to center. Exhale, release, Samasthiti, well done. Vinyasa, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Coming back to center on the inhale. Okay, well done. Next side. So don't feel shocked if you feel very different on one side. That's completely normal. We're not naturally symmetrical beings, so just work with where you are today. Inhale, extend, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, hands down either towards the block or the floor, tenting the fingers if you can. And then standing nice and strong, so nice and grounded through the left foot, begin to reach the right foot back. and then up towards the ceiling, really not only strengthening but stretching that hamstring at the same time. Looking towards the back of the mat, the hands can stay on the floor or the block, or maybe take a hold of your calf around your shin. And really use your breath as a tool to stay nice and balanced, nice and connected. Find one drishti, one gaze point that doesn't move. Take one more breath. And then as we inhale, if you need to rest your foot, rest your foot. Otherwise, come all the way through. You can either have your hands to your hip, knees bent, or peace fingers around the big toe, beginning to extend that right leg towards straight. Again, keeping a gaze point that doesn't move. Using your breath as a tool to stay balanced. Steady mind, steady breath will give you steady balance. Take one more breath in. Rest the foot if you need to. Otherwise, Veerabhadrasana C, Warrior 3, as we extend that right leg back behind us. You can either have your hands together at heart center in prayer, release the hands down to the floor or the block, capital T, or out in front, holding an invisible beach ball in front of you. As we inhale, last push if you can, come reach up through the fingertips, keeping that right knee bent, reach the right hand down towards the inner arch of the right foot, thumb towards big toe, extending up through that left hand. And as we exhale, we hinge forward, kicking into that foot kicking into the hand. Natarajasana, dancer's pose. Inhale, come up, and exhale, release. Well done. Shake everything out. We're going to come through to vinyasa now, down to our bellies. So inhale, exhale, inhale, and then from downward facing dog, we're just going to come into a plank position. So shoulders over wrists, using the strength of the arms, lower all the way down onto the belly. We're going to come into Bhujangasana, or a variation of that. We're going to either come to Sphinx pose. So you can either have your elbows underneath your shoulders, forearms parallel, or if you wanted to come into a rolling cobra, we're going to take 3 rounds. First round will be baby cobra, then we're going to come into mid cobra and then high cobra. Or you can just stay here in Sphinx pose, which is a really lovely way of opening through the chest and the shoulders, keeping them away from the ears, nice and long through the neck. Otherwise, coming down onto our bellies, palms underneath shoulders as we inhale. We lift the chest, we lift the gaze. So there should be no strength in the arms here. The palms can even lift off the floor. They're just there for support. Take one more breath in. Exhale, release down. Bring the palms back a couple of inches, elbows tucked into ribs. Inhale, lift up, using a little bit of strength of the arms here. Maybe even the top of the belly is beginning to lift off the floor. Take one more breath in. Exhale, release. Palms back towards ribs now, keeping those elbows in. Inhale. Arms towards straight, micro bend in the elbow, lifting the chest, looking forward. So nice and open through the chest, this tight area where we tend to collapse and round through the shoulders. Take one more breath in. Exhale to release down. Okay, so we have option here for Dhanurasana, bow pose. So we can keep our feet about hips distance apart. We're going to bring our arms back behind us as we bend our knees. We're going to take our feet from the outsides. Okay, so as we inhale, we lift the chest off the mat. This may feel like enough of a stretch for you in the shoulders and the chest. If you wanted to take it a little bit deeper and strengthen the legs as well, you can begin to kick the tops of the feet into the hands. Begin to lift the knees and the thighs off the floor. You may even get a nice little rocking sensation as you breathe in and out here. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, release the legs gently. And we're going to press back to child's pose. So hips to heels, knees together or hips distance apart. Release the forehead down towards the block or the mat. Arms can stay extended out in front, or you can release them alongside the body. Taking a few deep breaths here. And we will begin to wind down the practice now, I promise. We've done so much wonderful work here, beginning to open up through all these tight muscles. This is going to do amazing things for us if you feel especially tight from sitting. Deepen the breath. And if you wanted to set yourself an intention for the practice, now is a wonderful time to do that. Maybe flexibility, maybe calm, maybe mobility or energy through the body. And on your next inhale, breathe your intention in fully. Allow it to diffuse through your whole body. And then as you exhale, let go of anything that no longer serves you. And then on your next breath in, begin to gently roll up the spine. Amazing. So we're going to come into Arda Hanumanasana, half splits pose. So we have a couple of options for this because it can feel uncomfortable for some people. Actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to come into a dynamic version. So we're going to take Anjaneyasana first. So from your knees, you're going to bring your right foot forward. If it feels more comfortable to come from a downward facing dog, you can do that too. So the right foot's in between the hands, knee is over the ankle. You can tuck the toes under on that left foot. It takes a bit of the pressure out the knee, or you can bring the foot flat. And you can stay here on the fingertips. You can interlace your fingers, place them over the thigh. Or if you wanted, you can bring your arms up overhead. Whichever one feels best for you today. But with each inhale, we're creating space. And as we exhale, we're allowing the hips to sink that little bit deeper, opening up through the hips. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, release the hands to either side of the foot. So for half splits, Arda Hanumanasana, we can either stack our left hip over our left knee. That right leg can be straight, toes flexed or toes tucked under. And the second option we can take is to bring that left hip back to the heel. I don't have one, but if you have one, a block or a pillow underneath that right sit bone will be a lovely way of supporting this posture. And then with each breath in, we create space along the length of the spine. And as we exhale, we begin to hinge forward, really getting into the back of that right leg. You can always prop a little cushion or a towel, or you can roll up your mat as well underneath that left knee for support. And as you breathe in, We're going to come back to that low lunge position, so our right knee over our right ankle. Moving into Carpal Pigeon Pose, we're going to heel toe that right foot towards the left wrist. We're going to release that right knee down towards the right wrist. You can keep your leg at this angle, or if it feels more comfortable, you can begin to shuffle that right heel down so it comes in more in line with the left hip. You can extend that left leg back. If you have one, again, I don't have one, you can place a block underneath your sit bone for support here on your right leg. Otherwise, we're just going to have to float here. Any pain in the knee, come into a reclined version of this posture on your back. And we're going to begin to fold forward, releasing the forehead down towards the hands or the block or the floor. Allowing the hip to open on that right leg and the hip flexors to stretch on the left. Take one more deep full breath. And inhale, begin to walk the hands back up. Option to either come into a tabletop position or a downward facing dog. If downward facing dog feels a little intense, then just come into a tabletop, hands and knees. Otherwise, you can begin to find some movement in that right leg that feels good. Extend it up, maybe even open the hip. And then when you're ready, release it down, and we'll come into those same postures on the left side. So bringing the left foot forward to the space between the hands. Lowering the right knee down, either to a cushion or the mat. If it feels uncomfortable, you can roll it up or place a towel there. Toe can be tucked or flat. You can stay here on the fingertips with the left knee stacked over the left ankle. You can interlace your fingers on top of the thigh. Or arms up overhead. Slightly more active posture. Maybe you're feeling that today. But with each breath in, we create space, we lift, and as we exhale, we allow those hips to sink a little bit deeper. Take one more breath in. Exhale, release the hands down. And then option to come into Arda Hanamanasana half split, stacking your right hip over your right knee. Left foot can be towards straight, or you can flex the toes, getting a bit deeper into the hamstring. Or you can sit your hip back to your right heel, block underneath the left hip / sit bone, and begin to inhale, create space. Exhale, hinge forward, so really getting into the left leg hamstring. And have a play around with it. Find a position that works for you, where you feel comfortable, you feel stable, but you're also getting a really lovely juicy stretch in the back of that left leg. Breath in, come back to that low lunge, left knee stacked over left ankle, and then heel toe the left foot over towards the right wrist, left knee down towards the left wrist. Maybe that foot comes more in line with the right hip, that's fine too. There should be no pain in the left knee. If there is, just come onto your back into a reclined version. Block underneath the left sit bone if you have one. Inhale, create space. Exhale, hinge forward, coming down either to the forearms. You can rest your forehead down to the block or towards the floor. Breath in, begin to walk your hands back up, either coming into a tabletop or downward facing dog, three-legged dog. Anything you need to take in that left leg, so stretch it back, reach through the heels. And when you're ready, we're going to come through to seated. So you can either lower to your shins, step through, or jump through, whatever feels more in your practice today. What's going on here? And we're going to come to lay down on our backs. So we're going to take a little supported bridge. If you have a block, it's going to be supported bridge. If you don't have a block, it's going to be either bridge or bridge with chest expansion. So we're going to lower down onto our backs. If you need to watch me first, feel free to watch me. Heels, knees and hips all in line, so our knees aren't falling out to the side. Arms alongside the body, palms face down. As we inhale, we strengthen through the heels of the feet, lift our hips up. If you have a block, just place it underneath the sacrum, the flat part of the spine, just above your bottom. If not, you can either stay here or roll onto the tops of the shoulders, interlacing the fingers behind the back, creating a chest expansion, opening through the front side of the body. One more full breath. If you had the block or the bind, as we inhale, we release the bind, release the block, and then wherever we are, exhale to very gently, one vertebrae at a time, lower down. Inhale, bring our knees in towards our chest, arms out to either a capital T position or a goalpost position. Exhale, lower our knees over to the right. You can look towards the left, creating a twist through to the length of the spine, through to the crown of the head. I encourage you to maybe begin to close your eyes here as well. Just taking note of how you feel. Hopefully a little bit more open, a little bit more stretched. If not, hopefully a little bit more calm. One more breath on this side. Then inhale, bring your knees back to center. Exhale over to the left, maybe looking towards your right fingertips. As we inhale, bring your knees back to center. Exhale, release the feet down, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees fall open to the side. You can rest your left hand on your heart, your right hand on your belly. If this feels a bit too intense for the hips, you can always bring your knees together, feet to mat distance apart instead. And just bring your awareness back to your intention. Allow your intention to diffuse through your entire body as you inhale, to the tips of the fingers, the toes, the crown of the head. As you exhale, you let go. You cleanse yourself of anything that no longer serves you. Take one more deep breath. Inhale, bring your knees to center. Take one last little squeeze or any movements that feel nice to you. And then when you're ready, we're going to release into our Shavasana. Extend our legs out long, out to the front corners of the mat. Release your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. Softly close your eyes if they weren't already. Just begin to take note of your body. Notice any places where you feel sensation, tension. just micro adjust as needed. That could be wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, allow the shoulders to draw away from the ears, or tip the chin towards the chest. Take any movements you need so your body can come to a place of complete stillness. Feeling heavy as it begins to gently sink down into the mat, supported by the earth beneath you. Release your Ujjayi Pranayama, your yoga breath. Allow your gentle, natural rhythms to return. Allow the mind to quiet. Any stories or judgments that pop up, just let them pass. Try not to attach yourself to them, just let them drift away. Allowing yourself to stay completely present and still. I recommend you stay here for at least another few minutes if you can. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. As you go forward, I wish you peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. Namaste.